Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Hometown Hustle podcast. But this isn't just any episode. This episode features literally one of the most positive and inspiring people that I've ever met. Chris Walker is the owner of True Juice Organics, which is the hub for health and art here in Grants Pass. Now, Chris exudes positivity, and his can-do attitude brings out the best in everyone he comes in contact with. In this episode, we obviously talk about Chris's inspiring journey, but we also touch on some pretty powerful stuff about how sometimes some people just need a little love in their day. Now, there's so much to talk about that we decided to make this a two-part episode, so let's not waste any more time. This is part one. Enjoy. What's up, Chris?
What's up? How we doing, you guys? Hometown Hustle, let's go.
Let's go. There it is.
I think Chris did do pre-workout before he came in.
Yeah, for sure.
This is Chris Calm. This is
yeah, exactly. I was at Rogue Barbers and got a nice fresh cut before, and I was shaving, so I was like, okay, got it. I shaved so I look like I'm like I got good sleep, Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
No,
how do you shave the bags? I can't seem to get rid of these.
I know.
Chris has probably got some special ointment for that.
Yeah, I just drink my juice. That helps a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Well, I can't tell you, like, honestly, the three of us are super excited. We've been like trying to geeking out about getting you on here for a long time. You're just a super inspiring individual, and you have an awesome business, and we've all juice cleansed before.
I know, I love it. Thank you.
So we love the juice cleanses. But for those who don't know you, just give kind of a brief overview of who you are and what your business is.
Yeah, my name's Chris Walker, and I'm the owner of True Juice Organics. We're a health and arts hub in Grants Pass off 124 Northwest D Street.
All right.
And, we're more than just food, but I'm really excited about it because eating healthy really helped me. I've been here since 2007. I just had my 3-year anniversary January 1st at the Juice Bar. Wow. So that's like, a big hump because it started January 1st of 2020, and 3 months in, COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So, I got through that, and I was young and excited about it. I just turned 31, so I feel like, okay, this is my decade. Let's go, but yeah, we do a lot of things there. I do a lot of catering. I've been really pushing it when it comes to the classes. I just got a squat rack in there, and we're getting a leg press tomorrow in our fitness room. So really trying to work on the services too, so that we start with the food and then kind of work everything around that. But yeah, I've just been passionate about that. I've coached for years. I kind of just paused on that so I could delegate myself strictly just to True Juice. And from there, we're just kind of moving and grooving. Tonight I teach a positive fitness class, which I started 9 years ago on my property. Wow. And it's cool. It's growing. We just started a level 1 class where my good friend Brett is teaching, and he just got our most improved this last year. And so now he's one of the coaches. Cool. And we really needed that because the group started getting really athletic. Mm-hmm. So now I'm really excited because I'm allowed to just take it to that extreme for 1 hour. I'm like, I could do anything for 1 hour. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited about that, and people keep showing, and so that's really where my heart's at. And then the food is just a byproduct where it's like, when I eat good, I'm able to perform better. I've been in grizzly bear mode, kind of gaining. Mm-hmm.
I can see you getting big,
weighing 252 right now.
Oh,
so
damn.
I'm like, okay, NFL linebacker status.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but I'm excited to start shredding up a little bit now and just kind of dialing it back, a little less muffins. They're organic, but they're still, leftover smoothies will get you.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't throw that away.
Yeah.
So
sounds like an owner of a company right there.
Yeah, it's
everything gets used.
Oh, exactly. I'm excited because when it comes to that, we're going to be making true pops, just popsicles out of our leftover juice. Nice. And then same thing with our smoothies, making just ice creams and stuff, So just trying to be creative in that realm and just trying to win the day every day. That's the big thing is waking up, feeling good, trying to start early. But that means I need to actually get, better sleep, which is always hard because I get motivated at night.
Is that's your time?
Yeah, like Will Smith says, right? 9 to 5 is average. It's what you do from, 10 to 2
Right.
is really what goes your personal hustle, So I did that for that first year at True Juice. And I remember I committed, I told myself 365 days, I'm going to go 100% and then I'm going to reevaluate. And I really did that, and I basically lived there, did everything I could. And till like 2 a.m, then I'd restart every day. And then I was able to reevaluate. And then after 1 year, I was able to start coaching again and do both. And then it finally grew to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to pause because I can't give these kids 100% like I really was. And now I'm just doing it at the juice bar, So it's always, evolving and trying to pivot and not get upset when something doesn't work and just try something new, So that's been a real blessing.
While we're talking on evolving and stuff like that, I've known you for, it's probably been almost 10 years now. Back when I used to work at the club, I used to work out there all the time. Big ass dreads and just moving every plate in the weight room. No shit, Dan. Like you couldn't stack enough plates on the leg press for this guy, and he would just sit there and just do rep after rep,
literally
after rep.
stack, not just on the
right.
They were
top.
stacked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With a person.
Yeah. Then I throw Gilbert on top, which he's still working out at Positive Fitness, which is so cool. 9 years of just consistency,
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great.
But
yeah. So we'll back up a little bit. So you moved up here in 2007 or moved here in 2007, is that right?
I believe that was around 7th grade, and that's when I moved up here.
Okay.
And I went to Fleming Middle School,
Okay.
and then graduated from North Valley. I actually went to North Medford my junior year, and did that strictly because I wanted to take state for cheerleading. And I told my parents what I was doing, and I ended up moving to Medford for my junior year. I accomplished that goal. What happened was we had the best team. We were ranked 3rd in the state, but then grades happened, and then we lost a bunch of kids. So then I ended up I was like, well, what can I do? I'm going to take individual state with one girl for partner stunning. And so I ended up, the best girl on the team, I'm not going to say names, but she ended up, she couldn't put in 3 hours a day, and that's what I requested. I said, the only way we're going to win is if we really train, because it's a 1-minute routine.
Right.
So one fall, you're done. Yeah. And then, so she couldn't commit to that, but she was really good. But there was a girl that was just decent at the time.
Yeah.
But she said, I'll do anything. And I said, that's who I want.
Yeah.
And then we killed it, and then we took first. And then I went back, basically lived in my gym over there. Some things I should probably be careful what I say, but
it's a long time ago, but
I know, but they're still hustling. But then I moved back to North Valley and graduated with my team. Wow. So that was really cool.
So this has kind of always been your vibe. Like you've always kind of like, I want to be the best. I want to do, I want to do these crazy things. Like, is that?
Yeah. Well, I graduated high school and there was this feeling of, I knew there was something bigger.
Okay.
I was like, I know there's something. So I just had to have a goal. And that's when I started bodybuilding, and I got into it. And that's basically when I was at the club. And talking about those times, I remember when I was pushing that weight, I hurt my shoulder tumbling, and I separated my shoulder, and I ended up doing a year of legs.
Okay.
And it was just one of those goals where I said, okay, every day I'm going to squat. It might not always be heavy.
I remember that.
But I'm just going to do it every day. And my legs blew up that year. You know what I mean? And it was insane. And they've never went down from, they're a little small, and now I'm cardioing it up. But yeah, that was an amazing thing, And then I came back and my bench was stronger because it forced me to train my core. So that was really cool. But I always felt like there was something bigger I needed to do. So I always had these goals. And what I learned with the discipline and the hard work of bodybuilding, I was able to do anything because I was like, man, the consistency that, it's not the 2 hours, it's the other 22 hours, that really matter. So that got me into the health industry because I was like, man, I was either shredded or fat. So I was like, how can I ride that, So I cut out all the bad food, and I just slowly worked towards where I am now, and So that's kind of where the beginning started.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think what Daniel was getting at, and I'm more intrigued by as well, I mean, when you talk about a junior saying, I'm going to be number one, right? I'm going to be number one in competition for cheerleading. Like, most juniors in high school are like, maybe I want to go to school today.
Yeah.
Right. They're not like setting these crazy goals that they want to accomplish as a junior. And so I'll take Daniel's question one step further. Like, when did you know that like you were destined for more and you were going to push yourself to limits and be able to do all these things? Or did it just happen naturally and you woke up one day and you're like, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, you know, my parents. Yeah,
Because you don't just like decide to walk out of your apartment one day in Rogue River and lunge all the way to Grants Pass. Like, you just don't do that.
Right.
Like, there's like, you have to maybe not build up to it, because I don't know if you can train for that. I mean, you can, but I mean, there's a mentality there, like,
right.
And that's So go ahead.
Yeah,
So.
you know, the mentality. I don't know. You know, I was a cheerleader in high school. I had a girlfriend, and I hurt my back in wrestling and track, or wrestling and football, and I ended up going to the cheer practice in the beginning. And what happened was, one day they needed help, so I went out there, and I'm just, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm helping. Well, ended up breaking up with her, and then I stayed. She left, and I realized that I'm like, damn, I want to go to college. That was like, you know, the goal in high school. It's like, let's push towards that scholarship. And what happened was I loved it, and I realized that there was less competition in cheerleading than there was in football, right? And I wasn't the best football player. I was good, but I was at North Valley. You know, I'm like, so how am I going to really get noticed? So I ended up just training hard, and I realized that I did some one-on-ones, and when I was practicing, I realized that I was not as strong as I thought, because cheerleading's way harder than any other sport I've done, especially for guys. I'm not flexible, you know, so that was something. And but yeah, I made that decision, and I got, you know, most inspirational for 3 years in a row. Weird. Not even trying, but you know, that was when that was when I realized, I was like, okay, you know, I'm definitely a leader. I feel good about this, but I always wanted to win. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. And I realized that, like, you have to lose to get to the top, right? That's why I loved wrestling, was there might be 150 people in your bracket, but only one is the champion, but he literally lost his way to get there, you know, for years and years. So that's what was such a blessing about, you know, wrestling. It taught me that grit. And I had faith that I really thought I could have took state, but I did cheer also, which was a team sport. So every time that February came around, when state came around, I had to go to my cheer state versus my wrestling. Gotcha. So that was kind of a bummer a little bit, but it was a blessing, because, you know, I feel like I took the right route, and that led into a lot of other opportunities.
Yeah, there's a lot of men out there who like to throw women around, but not for the right reasons. So, yeah.
No, for sure.
Sorry. That's a little...
No, you're good.
Cheer's a good reason.
Cheer's a good reason.
That's how I would promote, you know, show guys that cheer was cool. And, you know, cheer camp was awesome.
It is cool,
but then when they get into it, you know, then they realize, damn, this is pretty hard.
Athleticism is insane.
It's super impressive. I remember watching you at the club when you would practice. It was like, what is he doing? Like, it seems impossible.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, when I saw my teacher, who was half my size, hold two girls up, one in each hand, I thought, damn, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, how do I do that?
How do I do that?
I want to hold two girls.
Right?
Like this.
Like this. No, like this, actually.
Yeah, full extension. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's super cool, Chris. This is really fun already.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, because I know it's kind of it's a step in your process. I want to talk about the decision that you made to lunge from Rogue River to Grants Pass, and
Nice.
and why you wanted to do that, and kind of where you were at in your life at that point, and kind of because it kind of helped you springboard into some other stuff too, right?
Oh man, that was a pivotal point in my life. 2018, November 22nd. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'll never forget. You know, I always pull back on that day whenever something gets hard. Like, nothing was that hard so far. And I'm looking for that, you know, like David Goggins talks about, he did that 60-hour race, the Moab 240, and he said he got 7 years of knowledge in that 60 hours. I'm like, damn, that's what I'm looking for. So
Accelerated course.
Oh, dude, like, I don't know. I guess I thrive on the idea of when you're in the pain, you know, like enjoying the suck. And like, something hit me the other day that he said, it was, what'd he say? You know, something like a halftime.
This is a children's show. Be careful.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
just kidding.
He's like,
It
you
did
know,
come from David Gaga. So it was F-F-F-D-F.
right, part-time savage.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that hit me
part-time
hard. I'm like,
savage.
damn, I don't want to be a part-time savage. You know what I mean? Like, and even when I'm not doing a lot, I still feel there's moments, right? Like you got to have a goal, something to look forward to. And then my heart's at ease. I'm like, cool, I'm working towards it. But the lunges started at Fleming. Basically every Monday I had Positive Fitness at my house in Hugo off exit 66. And what we would do is we did lunges. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning, but I went to RCC to do personal training. That was when I was doing those legs and everything. And I realized that I was more into nutrition than the working out. Because the nutrition, I could be training someone, but if they were eating like crap, none of it really mattered because the results weren't showing. So I went to my house. I told my parents. They said, as long as you have a goal, you could stay here. And I was super thankful for that. And I ended up starting Positive Fitness. We would warm up with hacky sack. Then we would do a workout. Then we would juice afterwards. I would juice for them. And then we would play music. And I was blending that because I had all my friends that at the festival scene, because I played music back then, they were more spiritual and mental. But then my gym buddies were just the meatheads. They were only physical, you know, and they were mental to a point. But when it came to other realms, they weren't. So we came together, created Positive Fitness, and it was a blend where I could really bring people together. Well, we would start by lunging to my dad's truck and back. And I remember we would do it 3 times, and that was huge, right? Everyone's like whining. I'm like, even me, I'm like, damn, my leg's feeling it. And every Monday, I ended up, when I was coaching wrestling and track, I ended up telling all the kids and the parents, on Friday, Coach Chris is going to lunge a mile. And if you guys want to lunge as far as you want, and then you could walk. And then parents would come and they would just walk till Coach was done. And it really motivated me because, you know, I started seeing results and I started pushing it and they got to see hardcoreness. And I thought, man, if I could get middle schoolers to lunge a mile, we're going to kill every team. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's how it started. And I did that for a few seasons, you know, and then that turned into, you know, what most people don't know. Before the Big Lunge Challenge in 2018, I did it twice from Merlin, Hugo to Club Northwest. And the first time I failed. I made it all the way to that overpass, and I told myself, I'm not going to quit unless something breaks. Like I don't want to really hurt myself, right? And that's a tough one when you're sore and you're hurting and you're in that suck. Yeah. And I made it to there, and my hamstring, I just knew, I was like, damn, it's done, dude. Like it was done. And I remember that walk was the hardest walk from that overpass all the way to the club. It was so hurtful. I was like, wow, I really, you know.
Emotional pain or physical pain?
Oh, both. Both. It was physical, but emotionally, I was like, man, I really thought I had this. You know what I mean? And it was amazing. My family stuck by me. No one really knew that was happening on that first one. It was just my family. And they took turns. They always supported me with that kind of stuff. And then 6 months later, I accomplished it. Yeah. Wow. So I did it again 6 months later. People at the club were waiting. It's a whole new team there now. But, you know, there are people at the door. And it was like this small little but big thing. And I remember they gave me a free drink. I was all excited. You know, and then I paused for a while, you know, doing the lunges. But then what happened was I was working at, I was coaching. And I was coaching gymnastics at Motion Matrix, which they're absolutely amazing in town. And then I was working at True Juice, and I was just working there at the time. And I remember I walked in there one day and I realized, I was like, I have to be a part of this because I believed in juice. And I ended up renting out a little spot in the back. And I was faking it till I made it. I was doing massage. Yet I wasn't certified. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
But I was trying to become professional, trying to make it real, right? Walk into my greatness. And that didn't work, right? I kept helping people and they couldn't pay. You know, I just kept helping and I just couldn't do it. And I saw people in pain, but I couldn't make rent. So I ended up working there. And I worked enough jobs at the time where I would spend my whole True Juice check for a juice cleanse. And that was because I was like, damn, I feel unstoppable when I'm drinking 6 of these a day. Like I really felt it. And I only worked there 3 hours a day. But during those 3 hours, in my opinion, it was the most popping, right? Because I was super high on life and just pumped about it. I was selling cleanses. I was like, dude, you guys have to do this. Like, it's cheap. Health is cheaper than disease. Yeah. So I was like trying to tell them that. And I ended up getting an opportunity, you know. But basically before that 2018 came, I wanted to do a food and fitness workshop. So I was like, how do I make this bigger without just doing a GoFundMe? I didn't want to just ask. I wanted to have a reason to push it. So I created the lunge challenge. I got a bunch of sponsors. I raised the $2,000 I wanted. It was $2,020.
Nice.
Wow.
Right before 2020, what a trip.
Yeah.
And True Juice sponsored me, and they gave me as much juice as I needed for the thing,
Cool.
which I needed that because honestly, when you're pushing yourself for that many hours, it took me 15 and a half hours.
Wow.
Your body's not digesting food like that easy. So all the blood flow will go to your tummy, and then your brain's like kind of foggy. So the juice, I drink it and bam, I was aware right away because it digests quick. So that happened, and I had the purpose of the kids, but I remember telling my sister, she's like, why are you doing this? Like, really? Like, because I got to find my why. And I was like, dude, I don't know, but I know it's going to be worth something. Like, there's a reason. There's something bigger than just this little fitness class, which was big to me,
Right.
But then what happened was I was almost to the end, right? And my sister, she was like, you have 1 mile left. And dude, I was broke. I thought, 1 mile? I have a whole mile left. Like a mile of lunges. Like a mile normally is so hard, let alone and I remember she was like trying to pump me up, and after the fact, my mom and my sister told me, at that moment when they told me that, when they left, they cried together because they realized
What it had done.
damn, I don't think he's going to do it.
Wow.
And they've never thought that before. And they thought, man, I really don't think, and they told me that, and there was like this big emotional thing. But I remember I had all these kids that I coached for years come towards the end, and it slowly grew. And I didn't know what the end looked like, right? And it grew and it grew. And I was supposed to sleep the night before leading into it. I left at midnight. But I was creating my own fundraiser at the end all the way up until it. So I really didn't have any time. My adrenaline was going, and I was at that mile. And one of these girls I coached at Motion Matrix for a handful of years, I would always tell her one more rep, one more rep, always do one more than everyone else, and don't even tell them, right? And I still do that to this day. We're doing 20, bust out that extra. And because the harder you work, the luckier you get, So basically that happened, and she was holding a sign that said, never give up, right in front of me. And I made this instant spiritual connection where I just thought, I'm not stopping, no matter what. And the second that clicked, it was over. Like it's hard to even remember that last mile, and it was just crazy. So finding your why, because every lunge, it's such a slow process. It was 14,391 lunges.
Jeez.
And, I didn't...
Clicker.
My brother, my youngest brother, which I love him to death because he stood by me every lunge, which is hard enough to walk that far.
Yeah.
And he clicked it every time, and just motivating in my ear. And I had my strong support group. Chad Thorson rode his bike from the beginning with me.
Wow.
And he's a physical therapist locally, and he was there for me, pushing it.
He's a good dude. Yep.
Great dude. And
Yeah.
and I remember finishing, and dude, talk about just like an overwhelming. It was crazy because I didn't expect there were hundreds of people at the end. Like it was this huge community. Like I was just shocked, but walking over that was like, it's hard to find that, And I tell people, the hard part really wasn't that day, because if you don't prepare, no matter how strong your mind is, you're going to break. Right. Like your muscle will not allow you to do that. But it was the 3 months, and I say 3 months, but it was years, Fleming and all that. But it was the 3 months of lunging an hour a day. I would get off work at 10 sometimes, and I thought, shit, I got to go to duo and lunge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, man, because I knew if I didn't, I don't care how strong my mind was, it wasn't going to allow me. So I would go there, and instead of lunging a mile, I tried to do the distance, and I thought, no, I'm going to just do time, because some days are harder than others. And I just did weighted lunges for an hour every day, and all the way up until probably 5 days before. And then I just rested, got massage. My friend Anthony worked on me for 2 weeks leading into it, and stretched, and just mentally, I rode my bike. That was the thing I visualized. Visualization is the biggest thing for me. And in that time in my life, all the way up until last year, I'm coming up on, I've had my license for a year now. So I rode my bike all those years, and I would ride that same route. So I had that route memorized. Like I visualized completing it every day. I mean, I knew every pothole, every step for months and months of just visualizing, all the way to the gym. So that was a really big thing. So if you ever want to do anything hard, you really have to do your routes and scout and all that.
I don't think people pre-plan enough for what they're going to do. Like when embrace the suck, you can't embrace the suck when you haven't envisioned yourself in the suck.
Absolutely.
And be able to see it and know that you can conquer it and come out to the other side. Daniel and I were actually talking about it a while ago. I forget the percentage, but people that visualize them being successful and succeeding, like in sports, they actually are almost as accurate with their accomplishments as they are the people that physically practice. The mental has such a big play on it that people don't even realize.
Dude, it's everything. The second I think I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
Oh, I get so nervous, like, when it comes to visualization. I used to skateboard when I was little, and there was a show called Scarred. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it showed all the people falling. And during that time in my life, I didn't know about visualization, but what I did know is while I was skating, I would visualize the kickflip, and then I would land it. And I would never watch that show. And now I could watch it because I don't skate, but I do the same thing with weightlifting. Like, I do not watch fails, bench fails, squat fails. Like, I don't fail. But I also have a reality where I'm like, I don't let my ego take over. If I feel something wrong, I'm going to stop, you know?
Right.
But yeah, you can't watch that stuff. You have to watch all the wins, you know?
So sidebar really quick, going to those hundreds of people that were at the finish line with you. My son Carter, actually, you were the coach of him when he was in track and field, or I think it was, or cross country. And it was amazing the amount of inspiration that you had to those kids. And it was like, I'm eating beans and rice every day, Dad, because I got to, be able to do what I can because Coach Chris told me to. And all those kids that you had such a large impact on, you always push them. I would have to say that, Carter's doing great now.
Yeah.
But probably during his teens, his 8th grade, that year was probably his best year in school, in education, bar none. Like, it's just crazy to see the inspiration on what you had for those kids. So to see,
proud of him.
A couple hundred people chilling at the finish line, like, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense.
Dude, thank you for bringing that up, because that was, I realized that with bodybuilding, nutrition was everything. It's like, I used to work out and not think about the eating as much. But, like, you go through those times, and I remember thinking with those kids, like, I might not have the best skills when it comes to, like, I didn't go to college for wrestling or any of that. But, man, if we could train hard and we could eat right, it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 3rd round, we're going to win. You know what I mean? Just make it to the next round. Make it to the next round. Our goal is overtime. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because in that, they're going to be gassed, So that was really, and that was the biggest time in my life, being around kids, pumping me up. It puts you in a situation where you're a leader. And then you realize, like, it keeps you youthful. Thing about adults, it's kind of hard sometimes because we're conditioned. Where with kids, it's like, you could be anything.
Right.
You tell them you could be anything. Like, I could be anything. So that's right. And then you're bouncing back. But those were the years that really, man, I miss it. I miss it so much. And I just, that kept me on track was for so many things, It was really good stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
Awesome. I love this podcast, dude. It is so cool.
The beans and rice, though, that was the coolest thing. I'm just gonna jump on there. I didn't have any. I didn't have money, dude. Like, I was running with the EBT card, food stamps, all that back then. And I remember I just got one thing of rice and beans. And I thought, okay, well, I can't give them gourmet, but if we stick to those healthy carbs and just basics,
right?
So I'd make that every day, and because really most of those kids, they might only get that free lunch a day,
right?
Which isn't even the healthiest, and sometimes they don't even eat it. And so being able to do that, that was more of an obligation in my heart than any of the training.
Right.
And then I, but I did it. I was able to feed them one day, and the next day all these parents supported, and I showed up and there was all this food.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, so that really kept me going. And then when I moved on to track, we grew the team to 90 kids, and I did the same thing for the track team. That was definitely a task. I had to buy an extra rice cooker, delegate one person up there to get it ready for me.
Right.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But
it's interesting to say when you talk about resilience from kids and adults don't have it. Like, I would love to get your guys' feedback and just more on that, because I completely agree with you that, I feel like teenagers and kids, for the most part, haven't been stunted. But us as adults, like, you tell us, Daniel, you can be anything you want to be tomorrow. All your past comes to you, right? And all those things come up.
I'm getting excited already.
All right, maybe
Tomorrow? I don't have to wait any longer. All right.
you're a terrible example.
Yeah.
Robin, you could be. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm doing it too.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think grown-ups just are set in their ways and don't have the same resiliency that teens and kids do?
And, don't get me wrong. Adults, I see it every day. I have a solid team at the juice bar of just people that come in and we're working on that. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it's really who you are around. When you have a family and you have these obligations where you just can't cut corners, I totally get it, But like how I tell people with eating healthy is that you got to make sure that don't worry about the bad stuff. Just add something good every day. Like try and add something. And then the bad stuff kind of falls off, mm-hmm. and you start surrounding yourself with people that really just are living it. And then what happens is when I'm feeling down, bam, now I have my tribe that's actually going to lift me up. Hey, what do you mean? Get up, let's go, Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is with the kids. I guess mentally, I just also know that they're a sponge. So like they're going to soak it up. And all they know is all they know, So it's like, okay, if we do this, you guys, this is going to happen. I had some solid coaches when I grew up, but it's hard because when you're not living by example, AKA like a coach, then it's hard to believe sometimes. You get that, I felt that when I did gymnastics. I wasn't a gymnast. I was a cheerleader. And I realized that, gymnasts, they're very strong and they follow, step 1, step 2, step 3. Whereas with me, I'm good with just a morale, pumping them up. I'm good with skill too over time. But in the beginning, I had to, okay, you're right. Where some coaches, they'll be like, no, that's not right. And no, that's not. If you know something, I can learn from you. Mm-hmm. And I would tell those kids that, like, mm-hmm. dude, teach me. You know a wrestling move I don't know? You've wrestled more years than me. You started at 3. Cool, let's go. And then I call them out, be like, hey, Sam, get out here. Show us that move you were showing me. Put them in the leadership position. When I was training with those lunges in my yard, what happened was I realized that it was always easier when I was in front. And I never recognized that until I started saying, okay, I'm going to lunge to that side, and then I'm going to go to the back of the line and the next person in line. Our goal is to get to that side, but if you want to weave, you can do anything you want to get there. Well, when they were leading, they would go harder. Mm. So I put them in leadership positions way more, and then that actually pushed the team because they felt good about, damn, I'm not just going to go there. I'm going to push them a little harder. And it really it created practice, and so that was something I recognized. So
yeah, kids are so fun that way because they are a sponge. And adults, on the other hand, I think, to try and answer your question a little bit, Dan, this is my perspective of it at least, is that adults have been made fun of. Their attitudes have been altered by other, people's perceptions, or they have egos and things like that. Like, I know that one of the things about being a vegan, for instance, I'm sure you probably there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's probably also I'm a dude, I'm not going to be a vegan. That's like a healthy hot chick thing, or whatever it is. I'm making stuff up, but it's just, I'm sure you've heard that stuff before. And kids, maybe they just haven't gotten that yet, and they haven't been beaten down enough to the point where they're still willing and able to do whatever it takes at that point, or they want to learn. They want to just soak it up, and it's not their ego getting in the way, or it's not that subconscious in their, or not. It's not even subconscious. It's like that. Yeah,
that thought in their head.
That thought in their head. Right. I'm a big Bill Burr fan. Have you heard of Bill Burr?
Yep.
He has this skit, and it's derogatory, but I find it hilarious. It's called "What Are You, a Fag?" And what it's about is that men have this thing in their head that anytime they want to do something remotely cute or intelligent, they have all their buddies in the back of their head what are you, a fag? You want to use an umbrella? It's raining outside. Just put your shoulders up, you fairy. That's one of his things, and I laugh at it because it's hilarious. Right. I think it's fun, but it's totally what we're talking about here is that it's
So you would say a guy in a friends group that's willing to drink White Claws when nobody else is?
That's me.
Yeah, I just stole it from me.
No, but but that's exactly what that is. It's just, I think it's just people getting nagged in their head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's when I was thinking with the kids, adults too, we want to be praised, right? I recognized something the other day where I saw this kid do something, and I realized that when you get put in a situation where, especially with a lot of people, like tonight I have Positive Fitness and giving praise, when someone does something right, praise them. Because then what happens is other people deep down, we want to be praised too in positive ways. And when we see, oh, they're doing that right, then they want to do it better. But if I praise things that are bad, then that's how it kind of ripples down. You know what I mean? And then they'll start doing the bad things. So really, we just need to make health cool. That's what I've been trying to do. Like, it's cool. It's cool to be fit.
Is super cool.
It's cool to, sleep good. It's cool to be nice. It's cool to be positive, and kind of keeping that. But that also allows me to have that inner animal of, damn, I better grind, because having that balance where you're masculine too and strong and healthy and,
Yeah, that's the toxic masculinity. We talked about that with Kelly Sparlin. That's not being a man. It's like being tough, and I'm not going to be healthy. I'm going to eat this cheeseburger because I'm a dude. Yeah. I'm not going to eat a salad.
Right. I think a lot of people that go that route that are so overly averted, their fear of themselves, like it's based in fear as well. So both extremes are based in fear in some cases. Like healthy balance is healthy balance, but those guys that are over masculine to the point of almost like not violence, but a tick under that, I think they're afraid of what they would actually be if they were healthy and, or what other people would say about them.
There's that huge fear of failure.
Yeah.
Like if you go out on a limb and I'm going to lunge from Merlin like Chris did. And then, you make it like 5 lunges and you're like, done. And everybody's watching, you're going to feel
totally.
And it's hard to recover from that. And then once you fail,
maybe you should have had that 5-hour energy, buddy.
Once you fail that one time, it's hard to get back on that horse and try again and try again and try again. And it really takes
Yeah, but from a weird standpoint, it weeds out the people that aren't your fans. So like I almost embrace failure because the people that are not going to be there standing next to me when I'm on the other side of it, I probably didn't need them anyways. And I know that sounds harsh.
No, absolutely.
That's kind of my MO.
It's true, and I think it's the fear of losing something. When people start getting all like, and it's just because they think that you're going to push something on them that maybe it's going to mean they can't do certain things, and that's totally not the case. It's I've changed so much over the last 10 years in what I would think positive ways, but I've also had where I thought I don't like to have haters because I feel like if you communicate enough, you really can find that middle ground,
Sure.
Or at least with time. And like, that's the big thing is like with the juice bar, most juice bars are 80% women customer base. So when I took over, I wanted to show guys you could be big and strong and eat plants and be healthy. And it doesn't mean you got to get rid of the chicken and the steak and all that stuff, but it doesn't hurt to have more micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, because we really do need that. So let's balance it out a little bit because especially in the United States, we're definitely obese. You know what I mean? Health is something that is growing because people are realizing, man, I want to feel good when I'm older. And that was me. I'm like, now I'm in my 30s and I'm like, okay, like when I'm 80, I want to feel 30. And I think it's really possible, and in my early 20s, it was all about just gains. And, I'm like, it all happened one day when I was talking to someone who had cancer and I said, if I was sick, this is what I would do. And I thought, man, I've said that way too many times. Why not start now before I get there? Right. Preventative health is so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it's interesting, mindsets. But a lot of these people that maybe I didn't see eye to eye back in the day, just, I look at my parents, my dad, it took a lot of years to get him to drink juice. In the beginning, he would hold his nose and drink it. And I remember thinking, I love you, Dad, but you'll enjoy this someday. Yeah. And especially with the ones you love, it's tough sometimes. Because you something, you want them to know it. You're like, dude, like this will help. But then I realized you really just have to lead by example. Yeah. And energy is so real. I don't know if you guys have heard about the rice experiment. Well, basically, I did this to show my roommate back in the day, who's my general manager right now, Gordon. Giving Gordon a shout out.
Gordon, what's up, Gordon?
Yeah, Gordon, you hear that? I had 3 jars, and I knew this was real because I know energy is real. So in the bottom, I had cooked rice, and one of them I had the word love on it. One I had hate/war, and one had nothing. And I had them all in the kitchen, and the whole idea was to see what happens, right? And every day I would put my intention into them. Just a little bit, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And when I felt love, I would do it. Well, within 1 week, they all had some mold on it. And I thought, damn it, why is this happening? This is not supposed to happen right now. And I realized, I'm like, okay, well, when is the time I have the most love? And that was when I get home and my dogs were happy. And I'd be like, oh, I love you, you know, and they're jumping around. And so I took the love one and I brought it to my room. And for 6 months, for a long time, I would go up there and I would jump on my bed. I'd hold that jar and I'd give Rasta some love. And that little bit of mold on there turned pink and it capsulated in there. And it never changed. And the one downstairs molded like crazy. And I realized, not that the news is bad, but the TV was on every day. Wow. And, you know, and I know the TV sometimes isn't always positive. And those ones molded like crazy, dude. And after 6 months, he was like, okay, I believe you, throw it away. But that was an experiment that showed so much, because I realized, dang, like with the juice bar, energy is so real. And over time, if you really put in that love and it's sincere and you're really working hard towards it, people are going to feel it. You know, they really are going to feel it. And I thought, man, if I could put that energy into my body and my workouts and like all that, I mean, it's going to take you to that next level, because chi, force energy, it's all real, you know?
But it's a conscious choice.
It is.
I mean, it's a conscious choice to accept it and be able to allow it into your life, but also exclude what you don't want. It was crazy the other night. Like, Rochelle was watching the show that was a little bit scary and all that stuff. And everybody that knows me knows I'm the biggest sissy in the world. And I have no problem walking away.
Yeah.
from scary movies. But it was really interesting. My daughter stood up and she's like, no, I'm going to go in my room and read. I don't want to watch this, you know, this movie. And I was like, she's starting to feel what it's not just positive. You have to be able and willing to block out the bad and take and absorb the good.
Right.
It's a conscious choice.
It is a conscious choice. I'm reading a book right now that has a section in it about that exactly, like television and like negative media violence and all that kind of stuff, and the effect that it has on children and all that kind of stuff. Like the violence in our country right now is just like at astronomical levels, and it's probably due to the television and all the violence and stuff that people are seeing. Like, it's just, it's a negative energy for sure.
And I know it's important to be aware of certain things, but then at the same time, like we said, start where you live. You know, man, I wake up every morning and my YouTube, you know, I'll have it. Now it's programmed where a new motivational thing every day hits up.
David Goggins, get up, motherfucker! Get up, one more rep.
Right? Take your feet up. It's crazy. Every morning I go through the same process of, I'm like, damn, I don't get up. You know, I'm like sore. I'm like, man, those squats. And but I turn it on. I give myself 10 minutes. You know, and it starts talking and I'm positively programming, you know, and I did that for years, not always in the morning, but, you know, I worked with my family when we were in high school and stuff, and we would all take turns in the yard playing, like, you know, okay, it's your turn for a song. Well, you know, I'd be kind of annoying because mine was always Les Brown or Eric Thomas or any of that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the reason why people get upset is because it's like there's guilt, right? It's like I'm not. It's not for you. It's really for me. You know, I'm trying to just program myself so that I could spit it out when I need to. You know what I mean? So I could feel good about myself.
Have you tried that app, Pep Talk?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's basically just like Spotify for inspirational speeches.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just like little 2 to 5, 10, 15 minute, and it just sort of randomly puts it into it. I'd show it to you. I can show it to you after the podcast.
Dude, I'd love to.
It's really cool. Like I guess probably when I injured my shoulder a long time ago, and then I started running a lot. Okay. And I found that I didn't like running to music. Like, I just didn't. I just, like, the tempo was, you're supposed to run to the tempo, right, so you can catch your pace. And I just never enjoyed that. And so I just started reading audiobooks while I ran.
Nice.
And I found that was really, really inspiring. And then I found that app, and you can just listen to that app for hours. And it's just little inspirational clips from.
Oh, dude, I'm going to have to download it.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I see a future sponsor.
Pep Talk.
It's really cool. It's
straight up,
and it's kind of like everybody you could possibly think of. Like, you're talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock, and that's weird. Did I put those two together? But they do what they are. So whack. Yeah.
So
check that out.
Speaking of which, Jesse Eisler. Like, do you know who he is?
Yes.
Are you a big fan of?
Yeah. Tell me about Jesse. I don't know who this is. So.
Well, you know, mentor wise, like I haven't met Jesse. I haven't met you in real life yet, but I look forward to going to your house.
Pretending like he's watching my podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to tag him because I'm funny. This last year I wrote 100 letters to like 100 different people, and Will Smith was one of them. And only a handful replied. Most people don't, you know, but it's the action of the practice. Because every once in a while you get lucky. And like I saw one of Jesse's posts, and I ended up writing the whole thing down, and then I ended up making I did the same thing. I said it. I read it. I'm like, Jesse said, and I was pumping people up, right? And then he said badass or something on the thing, and I thought that was super cool.
Yeah,
you know. And then
cool.
Jay Cutler and Phil Heath's trainer, Haney Rambod.
Okay.
It was cool. He's replied to me before.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's just, you got to reach out because they're human too. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, like writing letters, like on Instagram, or I mean, what do you?
Actual. There's something about handwritten.
Oh,
you know?
wow. Yeah.
So you just, you know, tell them.
And where do you get their addresses and stuff, or do you just?
You Google it.
Yeah.
You know, and usually it'll show you an address, like with Will Smith. It just showed an address.
It's like his publicist or something. Like
right.
that.
There's someone working.
Yeah.
Right. That one actually got returned back, but I felt good about it. I showed people, you see that? See that? You know? I tried, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
And because people want to help people who are helping themselves. So like when you're doing it and you're showing the action, they're like, damn, dude, imagine if we did pay him what he would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know, I did that, and that was just, I'd like to do it more, but you got to just keep rolling, you know, keep trying new things. But with Jesse, man, you know, I just really respect him because my good friend Kat Boswick, which she's listening to.
Kat?
Yeah, she's our community outreach leader for True Juice.
Awesome.
And she leads the women's group every Thursday at 6, and then I lead the men's group on Tuesday at 6. And yeah, you know, that's been a real positive thing. But what I was getting at, Jesse, Kat, she bought for Christmas the Masterclass series for a year.
Oh, cool.
And that's a really awesome, where it's just all these people and you just take these classes. And Jesse's wife, Sarah Blakely, I just finished her class, and it was about her whole come up. She created Spanx, and that blew up, you know, and then she ended up selling it, I believe, this last year or two. And it was just awesome to kind of see, you know, these people grinding with Jesse. He rode bikes for years. He would ride, I believe, through New York. And I think he even owns an NBA team right now. And it all started where he was a rapper, just an entrepreneur, right? Went through all these different things, but he surrounds himself with just people that are going to push him. And actually wrote a book where David Goggins lived with Jesse.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was really cool.
Oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Got it. Okay, got it.
So, but you know, I love his inspiration. I love that he's a family man. He's always grinding. You know, he talks about filling up your calendar with all the things you want to do, because if you don't, then your calendar is going to be filled up with things that people want you to do. So like if someone comes in and they're like, Chris, you busy tomorrow? I want to be busy. You know,
it's being recorded.
It's being recorded.
I know. Like literally in my head, I'm like, it's just punchline after punchline after punchline. I'm like, it's great, Chris, but I gotta take notes. I gotta write this down,
dude. It's addicting. You know, it's so healthy, dude. And so I follow him, and it's funny. I tell people he's my friend, even though we've never met. You know what I mean? Because I know we'll be training. He does this big race in his yard. It's this big hill in his yard, and they'll run like 100 hills or something crazy, really cool. And but yeah, Jesse, you know, him and Sarah push it. They have family, but they're always grinding. And he's doing the cold plunges, doing these crazy races. It motivated me to do my first marathon in 2019. You know, I didn't train exactly how I probably should have, but I went up to Seattle for that one. It was called Beat the Blurch, and I did my first marathon. And I thought flat was good, but then I realized that hills is better because you're working different muscles. My hip flexors were torn. And then I ran with my good friend Gilbert. We did our second one. We did our first ultra marathon. It was like 32 miles, 32 and a half or something. And it was just, dude, all hills and muddy, and it was raining. I say I wasn't prepared. I was prepared more than most, but I even forgot my rain jacket because I came from Southern Oregon, and I went up there. So it was funny. I was shirtless the whole thing, and just hustling, thinking, I'm like, Goggins, you know, baby Goggins, let's go,
baby
you know?
Goggins. Dude, Chris, this is super exciting, man. Like you said something earlier, and it didn't really dawn on me until right now. You said I don't fail. And what's wild is that you're not gonna fail ever. Like just your outlook on life and your positivity and just in your desire to just want to be better and learn more stuff is just it's going to propel you into whatever you want to do. Like I have no doubt that you're going to meet all these dudes that you want to. You're going to do everything that you want to do. Like this is just, it's super cool.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, it's a super fun vibe, and I really appreciate you being here. And we're not done yet, but I'm just it's awesome. Yeah,
and sorry it took this long to get here, but it was a build up.
It was your calendar, not his. I get it. Like, it totally makes sense now.
No, super thankful. Oh yeah, right, exactly. Because I have my daily where I started journaling when I was 20, 11 years ago. And I have my moments where I fall off, a couple years at a time, and but I realized that journaling was really hard. It was food journaling that made it easy because I eat food every day. So as long as I ate, when I was coaching the kids, I remember it kept me on track because I would show them my journal. In the first year, I tried to buy journals and give it to all the kids, but it was time. I'm like, how can I make this 2 hours as productive as possible? And that wasn't quite working, but I told them and I would show them, I said, even if I ate a bite of a Snickers bar, I'm going to write it down and then I'm going to have to show you, so then it kept me way more accountable. There were times where I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw that away. I'm not going to eat it, and that's the whole point is like surrounding yourself with people that care, and, but I started that journal. But now I'm at the point where I have, after listening to Jesse, I have my year calendar. He does this thing called the Big Ass Calendar, and he sells it. But I ended up getting just a year calendar on Amazon. That's an expo board. And it's really nice because you could take a step back. I have my daily, and then I have my month. But planning out for the year, I think, is so important at this point because time goes by quick. Yep. So I'm like, okay, in December I'm doing this. And you have that long lead up where you could visualize, and you could have that because things take time. And trust me, I'm positive, but I'll have both emotions every day. I'll have the hardest feelings, and then I'll feel super motivated. But I'm also honest, it's important to be vulnerable, and I think true strength is telling people when shit's hard. Yeah. So that's been huge. I have on my men's group on Tuesday. On that questionnaire, I put the men's group and my tea with friends on Sunday. I've created these little things with my friends and with the community where it's things that I know it's going to help me. I might not want to be there, but then I'm always afterwards, just like the gym. You never walk out, you're like, I regret that. Yeah. Right. Never. It's getting there is the hard part. I tell the kids, dude, show up to class, you're going to pass. You just got to show up. Seriously. You'll get a C. Just put your name on the paper, show up, be nice, And then if you want to be really good, then
seriously, that is like
do your best.
That is like the key to life.
That's human 101.
Yeah, human 101 right there, right? You guys. Just show up. Like all you got to do is just show up. Like the energy in the room, the people that you surround yourself with are they're just gonna make sure that you don't fail. Like it's just like all you have to do is be there
and be nice
and be nice. Be nice is important. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, learn to listen.
If you're not going to be nice, then just stay home.
Learn to listen. Yeah.
Learn to listen is an amazing one.
Oh, for sure. Man, I'm on the real. One big thing that happened this last year was this girl comes in, and thank God sometimes I'm like, small business is hard with customer service sometimes, because everyone has a different, they feel like they're paying to be rude. Not everybody, but I mean, you'll have those moments, right? Yeah. And I just came off a yoga session. I've been doing yoga every Monday. At the Juice Bar. It feels super solid. Renee Boatman teaches it.
Renee!
Renee!
All kinds of shout outs.
Yeah. And I'm not done. So hers is True You Yoga, but she does Vinyasa Yoga, and that's been huge because I'm forced to do it because it's there, so it's really nice. Yeah. But basically, I was feeling good, and the next day, this girl comes in and just the whole energy, rude, right? Just hardcore. And she ends up... And I'm feeling this, and everything I say, she's just shooting at me, right? And I look and I just tell her, "Are you okay? Do you need a hug?" I realized there was something really wrong because it was like she was being mean, and she's quiet, and she just starts crying, and she says, "Yeah." I give her a hug, I bring her to the back. We talk for like an hour and a half, dude. Like I just committed to it, and she said, "If it wasn't for this moment, I was headed to go commit suicide." Wow. And I was like, fuck, I got chills thinking about it because those moments, right, dude? Like, And it was so intense.
Yeah.
It was so intense. And I thought, man, I just knew the Lord was telling me, the universe was like, dude, there's something wrong
And you
right
grabbed
now.
it. That's like,
Yeah, I turned
that's
to
huge.
my team and I told Bryce, I said, Bryce, you're the best. He's holding down right now.
Bryce.
Bryce Timberlake. But I told him, I was like, dude, I gotta go back. I gotta go talk to this girl. He's like, cool, no problem. And he knows, like, you know, our whole goal is just to do our best. So that's basically all it is. You know, days are hard. We wake up, let's try and win the day again. But I go back there, I do that, give her a hug, she leaves, and I remember, man, dude, I was shook, you know, off that whole situation because I've never been in that headspace. So like I didn't even, you know. And some people, dude, they just need love. You know what I mean? And that was during those COVID times where everywhere else was telling you to get out if you didn't have a mask. You know what I mean? True Juice, we were the last place to force people to have masks until OSHA came to me and they threatened me with $10,000.
Yeah.
And then it
Dude,
wasn't.
you should have done a fundraiser. I mean, not that I'm against masks.
I know.
But I'm sure.
And it wasn't that I was against it. I wanted people to feel safe in all ways. I'm like, dude, I'm drinking juice, dude. You know what I mean? Like year round, people come in because they're either hella elevated or they're sick.
Right.
You know, I know when the community's sick. You just call us and I'll let you know. You know what I mean? Like, and it's amazing. It's getting to a point where literally there's like doctors referring them to True Juice, and that pumps me up because that's behind the scenes. Because in the United States, it's not really about preventative health. You know, especially with cancer, it's about chemo, radiation, or surgery. It's the three things they get diagnosed with. So
That's what they make the most money on.
yep. And so it's just real talk. And, you know, it's at a point where 1 in 3 people get cancer, you know. And so that's pretty crazy. One of us, you know what I mean? Whereas even in the early 90s, it was 1 in 20. Wow. So it's just a big change, you know. So something has to change.
Yeah.
And, like, we need to be pushing health. And so we have to live by example because people, they'll see you and they're just going to, like, if I'm not feeling good, it rubs off.
Yeah.
You know?
I would bet that, and I'm not a doctor by any means. You can call me
Not a doctor.
I am not a doctor. I would bet that the cancer, the 1 in 3 and the 1 in 20, I bet you is all about negative energy. I would put money.
yeah.
I would put money on it.
100%.
Yeah, like you just those positive vibes that you put into that mold in your rice.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I'm serious.
I agree with you.
No, absolutely.
No,
yeah.
I'm going to go down a rabbit hole after this that you're probably going to cut out because it's going to go too deep. But I really think that we all resonate at frequencies and we all hum together with like frequencies. So you put off a vibe, I put off a vibe.
Right.
And when all of us are together and you could feel that vibe, you read that gal's vibe and it was off. Because you were in tune with what was happening. Not that this is all Ouija board crazy shit.
Totally.
We all put off an energy. You read that energy and you said you needed to react.
Which is a little bit crazy too, but I'm just like super impressed that you grabbed that. Like you grabbed that, you saw it. And I think a lot of people, you'll see people like that all the time and you're like, you know, that person's broken. Like there's something wrong with them. Hope they're okay. You know, and you just move on.
Or if that, they may even be just like, God, what a bitch.
Yeah, like,
you know,
why are you in my space?
Yeah.
And you grabbed that and fixed it with, you know, with your love. I think that is just the most amazing story I've heard in a long, long time.
Yeah, everybody reads it, Dan. You know, like everybody feels it. Like that girl can come in there. Everybody knows she's being a bitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, dude,
But,
customers, the whole thing.
yeah, I can guarantee you, everybody in the room is kind of like doing this, right?
Right.
But you just like that is a skill that not many people have. That I think most people need. I'm that guy. What a bitch! Like I'm serious. Like I need to be so much better at that. And Steve, we talked with Steve Rowe about this too. It's not what's wrong with that person. It's what happened to that person. Why are they that way? You know, and it's super sad. I mean, we all need to be nicer and we all need to like start looking at that kind of thing. Cause
you know, there's a time and place because like I was in tune. So I was at the moment where my cup was overflowing. So I was able to do that. Eric Thomas talks about, you know, don't have your concert and then tune your instrument afterwards. Right. That same token, you know, no negative people before 3. That whole mentality of you can't help until you've been helped, until you feel positive and good. So the fact that I have all these outlets with all these people we're all helping each other, it allowed me to do that. Because if I was in a state that I have been in states where, you know, where I didn't have the energy for that and I would avoid. You know, say I'm training for a big competition or something and you're a few days out of, you know, you really don't have the mental energy for it. You know, that's why like fighters will go and they'll live in the woods, or someone writing a book they'll seclude themselves, monk themselves out. But I think it's important. That's why we need all these outlets of health more than just food, so that we can help each other. Mm-hmm. Because the movie The Guardian, I love that movie because he's all, how do you choose who to save?
Right.
He's all, I find the weakest person and I swim as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And I thought, damn, ooh, I love that. You know what I mean? It's so true, dude. It's so true.
You want to know a fun fact about The Guardian?
Please.
The guy who that movie's based off of lives here in Grants Pass.
What?
Yeah. So the master swimmer, the master instructor, Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
That his character is based off a guy who lives here in Grants Pass.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. So
wow.
Ron,
I'd like to meet you sometime. Oh, that's amazing.
He's a good dude too.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's actually Jesse's father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but
Dude, that's crazy. Small world.
Yeah.
You know?
Small world.
Isn't that wild? But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is so cool. Yeah. So.
And I think it comes down, like you were saying, you didn't have the mental space and all that stuff to be able to help them out. I think it comes down to people are so in their own head that they're not willing and wanting to see, like you were saying, if you're not in the headspace because you want to go do whatever, like, or you are training for a competition or whatever, like you're just stuck in your own loop and you don't have the time to see what that pain that other person's going through. Right. Not even if you aggressively call them a bitch, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have to go that route. You're just thinking on the 92 things that you have to do that day, not about that other person.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah, and the fact that I had a team that day to hold down so I could do that was huge. Yeah. And then I was able to spit that motivation back to the team, like, thank you, and this is what came out of it.
Right.
You know, and then it motivates even more people. Super good. All love, you know.
Yeah, crazy. Very, very cool.
Man.
I'm making some internal notes here.
Did you ever
I know it's recorded, but it's
this
is just something that I need desperate work on. Like, it's something that I've gotten. We were talking about this the other day. Just
I think we talk about it quite a bit. Yeah.
We do talk about it quite a bit because it's definitely a major weakness of mine is a lack of empathy. And I think it's probably just a selfish, not realizing like what people are going through, because I have my bad days too. And I just want everybody to obviously bend over when I'm,
and you've been hustling, dude.
Yeah. Well,
there's definitely a time and place. And, one of my best friends right now, Josh, I don't know, you guys ever see Josh dancing on the corner?
Josh. Yeah.
That's Bros.
Yes.
He's one of the hardest workers, that I've been around, and it's amazing because watching his come up too, like he's out there and there's this judge where people think, what's going on? What's this guy about? But the reality is, dude, I've never had a harder training partner. He does that out of all love because he really just enjoys it.
Yeah.
And he comes to Positive Fitness. He comes to the men's group. Dude, I've never been pushed that hard. We just went and we ran for an hour. We did an hour on the Jacob's ladder. And just crazy.
I literally,
Have you ever done 2 minutes on a Jacob's ladder?
Dude, 30 minutes was the first time ever, and I was just...
I've done over an hour on the Jacob's ladder. That used to be my thing for a while.
Heck yeah, Robin.
Listening to Tony Robbins or Eric Thomas for sure. Like, you can put those on and you can go forever.
Oh, dude, so good.
So crazy thing about your friend is, like, I literally saw him, and I go to a meeting every Tuesday morning, and I was like, I want to bring that guy into the meeting. And everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about, Dan? You're crazy. Look at him. He's dancing on the corner. I'm like, that guy needs to come to our meeting and explain to us why he does that every day. Because you guys don't do the same shit every day. He gets up with dedication, maybe smokes a little too much weed, but he stands in the corner and dances. What do you do every day? Right? They shot me down.
Dude. And, I just kept praising it because I was curious, right? And
sorry about the weed comment.
Hey,
it may or may not be true.
Hey, I'm definitely, I smoke a lot of weed. But there's a time and place, right? Like, I really believe it's a medicine. And used right. When I was coaching in the middle school, I had dreads, and so I already had a target on my back.
Right.
But that was the big thing. I was trying to break stereotypes. Herb does not make you lazy. There's a reason why athletes use it. And it does help a lot easier than like alcohol. When I was bodybuilding, I was like, damn, I really can't drink with my buddies because I'd wake up and I couldn't perform right. Whereas, I could smoke a joint, I could feel good, I'd wake up, on point. you know, I didn't think I'd be touching base on that, but you know, I do stand strong because we live in Southern Oregon, you know, so it's very obvious. I have a drink I made called the Southern Oregon Juice, and it's all our greens, and then I add local CBD in it. So that's been really popular, you know. But yeah, totally. You could overuse, and I think the big thing is you got to have goals. You know, you got to stay focused because it's easy to fall off.
Yep.
And when you're not doing anything, you could just sit around and blaze too much. You know what I mean? But
Sounds interesting.
you know,
Dan's like,
you know,
What are you doing Sunday?
not that actually.
Smoking a bunch of weed and hitting the Jacob's ladder.
Yeah, marijuana is not my thing. It is not a friend of mine. So
Yeah.
it's not for everybody. You know,
Oh,
it's
totally.
I just don't dig it.
I'm
Just
sorry,
like-
I didn't mean to go down this trail, guys. I
No.
was just saying.
oh, well, just like with, you know, the healthy fats and peanut butter, you know, but then some people, they'll die.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the big thing is making sure there's education on it. Tonight, after Positive Fitness, I have documentary night. So I've been doing documentary night every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And tonight we're doing the Bigger, Stronger, Faster documentary, and it's about performance enhancing drugs. And I'm really excited about it because I'm teaching this class and we're talking about the foundation and the basics. But what's cool about this documentary is it shows it's education, right? It's just like Lance Armstrong, you know, how he cheated and he got caught and all that. I still look up to the dude. He still trained like no other, you know. He got testicular cancer and then won all 7 Tour de France's afterwards.
Right.
It was spiritual fitness, right? So like sometimes you need these like things to happen in your life to shoot you forward. You know, like people that lose a limb. I'm always thinking, man, if I didn't have legs, what would I do? You know what I mean? Take advantage of it, appreciate your body, appreciate what you have, but take care of it. Don't abuse it.
You'd probably walk on your hands from Rogue River to Grants Pass is probably what you do.
I need to work on the handstands.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I was good at one time,
Yeah,
but definitely slow down a little bit.
definitely slow down.
You know?
You're cool. You got so many cool events at True Juice. So you're doing. It's not. I mean, it's not just a juice bar. I mean, you're doing music. You got documentary night. You're doing yoga over there. You're doing this fitness class. I mean, you guys. What else you got going on
Got
over
it
there?
rocking, dude. It's like almost so right now. I'm working on trying to really maximize my fitness room because I have something going on almost every day of the month. But now I want to dial it in where I could have, you know, from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. But that's going to take like really having someone who's dedicated strictly for that room because I'm really a jack of all trades. I'm trying to do it all. And sometimes it's hard, especially when you're trying to build relationships and move on and do other things. But right now on Mondays, we have yoga with Renee. Tuesday, I teach the men's group. Wednesday's Positive Fitness. And my good friend Brett's teaching level 1 at 5. Level 2, I'm teaching, which is just like all out. We're going hard. And then Thursday's our women's group. This Friday, we have reggae night. So Michael Leslie from Eugene's coming down with 2 musicians. It's $7 at the door. It's just going to be high vibe music starting at 6. And then I do sip and paints with Pure Life Designs, sip and paint, Ashley Mendez.
Ashley.
And then Sunday, I added a run every Sunday at 10:30 to 11. We just run a little over a mile. We do yoga for 15 minutes. We run to Riverside Park and back, and we're screaming the whole time, just pumping the town up. Like, you know, I'm like...
I literally saw them doing it on Sunday when I was heading across the bridge.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we walked the bridge. That's why you saw us walking.
Yeah.
That's our one rest. But it's fun because my friends, they come together for that. It's a smaller group, but it's nice that we have the opportunity. And then Sarah, she's teaching breathwork and meditation after our run this week. On Sunday.
Nice.
But every 2 weeks we do Tea with Friends, and it's basically just a support group where we're just coming together, hanging out, sipping tea for an hour and a half. And we sip Sarah's tea. She just started her business called Soulful Sips. So I'm really excited about that. And it's just adaptogenic, just good, healthy blend that she created from the herb shop. So it's really exciting. They're teaming up with her. So it's just a lot of good stuff, you know, and I'm trying to add more.
But you do stuff outside of True Juice as well, right? Didn't you do not only the concert, but you also had a gathering where you guys did some Wim Hof breathing and some cold plunging and stuff like that. So you guys had an event. What was that?
Yeah, so
6
that
months
was
ago or so.
Yep, that was this last year. What we did was I was just catering it, so I was just a part of the healthy food part. But it was Steph and Salam. They live in New York, and they came over for the Sana Ohana retreat, and that was at the Jackson Well Springs. And that was a 3-day event where it was all about health modalities, where we did the breath work, went to the river, jumped in. It was hella cold at the time. And then I did the food. They did yoga, acro yoga, and a handful of other things. My intention, my vibe was just on the food. So I was kind of in my own zone. But I got to participate in a few things. And it was nice because I wanted to, like, a reason to push it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ride my bike to Ashland. So I rode my bike there, and then I met the team there. And then I started cooking.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that was cool.
You're a stud.
No, it was cool. It was cool. I haven't been riding as much, but I sure...
yeah, you got a car now. You're getting all lazy.
Dude. It's so much harder to... It's crazy. Like, I really did that. I put myself in a situation where I had to do it. And so I did it year round, and I wrote on the questionnaire because I was like, okay, what are some hard things that I did? Well, 1 month I wanted to ride my bike 1,000 miles. And I thought, okay, how am I going to do this, right? Like, while still working. And so I would ride from Rogue River to Grants Pass a couple times a day.
How many miles is that?
I think I was doing 250 a week. So that was my goal. So there were a couple days where, damn, I only did it once today. So I was just trying to hit those marks weekly, 250 a week. And what happened was, dude, I got back and I was hella tired, and I got back and I smashed some food. It was like 10 p.m. And I was like, cool, I'm at 990. All I got to do is go out, ride, 10 miles per hour, nothing too crazy, get my last 10 miles. Fell asleep, woke up at like 1 a.m, pissed. I was like, oh my God. But I was like, now I'm like, okay, it's just part of the story. Part of the story. Like, I'm just writing my book, right? Like, and
So you shouldn't have smoked that joint.
Guilty, dude. I know, I'm like trying to get motivated. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not having caffeine right now because it's late.
And it's only 10 miles.
Right. But
shit's
fun
funny.
times. Yeah, so 990.
I saw that and I just didn't even think about it. But
I was pissed.
pissed.
I was so, because it was like, we're just right there. It's like, damn, dude, I got through the hard stuff.
Yeah.
But it was still awesome.
So what fuels your passion? I mean, really, because you are a passionate guy. You're vibrant. Yes, you have your ups and downs. I mean, we all do. Sometimes, passion can intimidate others, and it becomes challenging, right, and all of that. But what keeps fueling you to come back to the well over and over and over again?
Yeah, I think it's at this point where I've built a big enough support group where now my mission is not necessarily to hold events or do any of this. It's really just to have my other friends, to have everyone's dreams come true, because I had opportunity. I got opportunity because I was pushing, I was doing my thing, and someone saw that and just said, hey, Chris, what do you think? And, I questioned it, and I won't get into details, but I remember thinking, I don't know. And he's like, why don't you know? Just go for it. You'll learn along the way. And I thought, damn, you're so right. So I'm really at that point where I'm trying to pump up. Like, I tell all my friends, you should all have your own product. You should all have your own dream and something you're passionate about, and we'll all support each other. So it's these little things. Now, when it comes to the workouts, I feel like that's just those deposits that are going to actually allow me to ride that wave, right? And so what really fills me up is, like that story I said, just helping people. The more people I help, the more that I'm grateful, and the more that I feel like I need to hold down my, my word and everything. And
you feel accountable to them.
Yeah, I'm accountable. Yeah, exactly. And, and back in the day, it was a little harder for me to talk about my weaknesses, but now it's at that point where, man, I talk about them, and then I smash them, I accomplish. I'm like, I'm going through this, and then bam, I get good insight because I love the people I'm talking to. And then now I get to move on to the next level, So, my passion is just people, and it's eating right, and it's food. And, I see enough people that are sick, not feeling good. And I just have this something inside that's telling me, damn, I just want to help, know? And I think that's getting to a point where now I have enough people around me, even like you guys, like, it's motivating to see someone visualize something, manifest it, and take action. Taking action is the biggest thing. Having a game plan If you don't have a game plan, it's just a wish, and wishes don't come true. So you really just have to set those goals, write it down, put it on the board, put it on a sticky note so you see it every day. It's the little things. It's like I used to walk up my stairs when I lived in Rogue River, and every time I go up there, I do 5 push-ups. Nothing crazy, but 5. You start adding that up, and next thing you know, you're doing 1,000 by the end of the day. And so that's kind of really important. Yeah, the compound effect. It's so true, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm like, damn, I don't have to do too much. I have on my board, I have all these things in my office, right? And a lot of things are hard. A lot of things are simple. Open the mail. You know what I mean? Open the juice bar. These simple things. If I accomplish it, I cross it off. I'm done for the day. That's all I have to do. Now, if I do 365 check marks a year, dude, there's so many things on there. Some days I have to do the hard things. Right. Write the letter. Reach out to homeboy. But then it's done. And now I don't get this feeling of anxiety. Oh, I got to keep hustling every day. Got to keep pushing every day. No, it's like just check one thing off a day. That's the biggest advice I could give. That's helped me. If I just do one thing a day, bam, I did this. Cool. Huge success. Being able to follow my passion, my purpose, and setting 3-month goals. I really like these, your daily goals, but then also every 3 months you got to do something hard. Whatever that is. So right now I'm trying to train for a marathon, and I want to do with Josh, I want to train for this Eugene marathon. I got to dial in that date, but it's coming up soon. And I'm just excited, being around people. The reason why I'm doing it is not because it's hard. It's because I show up now, there's hundreds of people that are in that same mindset. And that's all I want. When I ran that first one, I remember I'm running, and you think that you're going to be around all these crazy athletes. There's the one person that, dude, they're over 300 pounds, and I look over and I'm so inspired. I'm like, dude, I'm so pumped. Good job. And we're all saying good job to each other. You got to just show up, And so that's kind of where I'm at. And that first year, I went 365 days, and I was open 7 days a week. And now I'm at that point, I'm like, no, it's good to have one day of rest. So we're closed on Sundays. It might change during the summer, but we're closed on Sundays, and that really allows me to be more with community and really have that time to really reflect, so you could visualize what your week wants to look like, But yeah, so there's a lot to it, but I really think it comes down to just drinking that gallon of water a day. You know what I mean? Those simple things that we all fall off on, and we don't want to hear it. Everyone knows a salad's good for you, but one salad isn't going to change your life. It's the consistency of the eating right. And that all, so I guess that's what it is. When you eat right, you think right. And that's kind of, what if I have to dial it down to one thing, when I'm not treating myself good, and when I'm cheating and doing all these things that I know that I don't feel good about, then it ripples into nothing else is successful.
It compounds into the other way.
Right.
Yeah. I pointed out the compound effect, and it seems like that's what you've done. And maybe you've clearly read the book because you know what it's about.
Parts of it.
Yeah. And that's, you don't need this book clearly. But what it compounds, the easiest way to explain it for people is if I were to give you the option of giving you a penny right now that compounds every day for the next 30 days, or $1 million right now here at this table, what would you take?
Penny.
I'm guessing the penny because
yeah. You might know the numbers better than I do, but if that penny, if it doubles in value every single day, if that one penny tomorrow it's worth 2 cents, and the next day it's worth 4, and the next day it's worth 8, and the next day it's worth 16, it ends up being $3 million or something crazy like that. Yeah, over 30 days. So, but what it talks about in that book is if you say, oh, I would, you talked about the push-up thing, I'm going to do 5 push-ups a day every time I get home, right? So you do 5 push-ups, and then, so over many days from now, you've done so many push-ups, but you've already started that good routine, and that good routine compounds into another good routine, and that good routine compounds into another good routine, and then it starts to change your mental attitude, and then that mental attitude starts to spread out to your friends and all the people that that's what you've done. You've compounded this positive attitude and this attitude of accomplishment and just trying to do hard things, and it's starting to spread throughout the community, and it's really cool. It's compounding to other people. But that also, that negative, on the flip side, is that it does the same thing in the negative manner, right? If you start having a negative attitude, if I showed up every day and had a negative attitude in front of the team, he'd start having a negative attitude.
Right.
Cheyenne, Javier, they'd all start having a negative attitude, and they take it back to their families, and then their kids would get it, and then it just starts spreading, and it's just awful,
Right.
But it's just, I just commend you for doing that, and it's just really cool, and being accountable for other people. I mean, that's just.
Thank you so much.
It's
bro.
awesome, man.
I
It's
appreciate
really
you
cool.
guys so much.
We should do part 2.
Yeah,
You're sure
I
you
would
got a
love
lot
to,
of-
dude.
We
I
have a
got
choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some stuff I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
But if there's a part 2 opportunity, let's go, baby.
Let's just schedule it. We'll do it in a couple weeks.
Daniel, would you like to tell everybody what the Chris Bowl is?
The Chris Bowl? I think Chris should tell everybody what the Chris Bowl is, because
Yeah.
it's bomb. Chris Bowl at True Juice.
The Chris Bowl is our Southwest and our Rogue Buddha Bowl put together. It's basically what I always eat, so I decided to. It's not actually on the menu. You got to ask for it. Yep. It's like $1 upcharge, but it's just this fat bowl, bed of greens, 3/4 cup quinoa. You have your shredded beet, shredded carrot, sweet potato, garbanzo beans, cilantro, sprouts, our house-made seasoning, or garlic and herb seasoning with our house-made sauce, which is olive oil, apple cider vinegar, Himalayan sea salt with a little maple syrup. And dude, it's really good. It has a lot of protein when it comes to just plant-based proteins because of the chili. And quinoa is a complete protein when it comes to it's low glycemic, so it doesn't spike your insulin. So it's just really good for pre and post workout, and when you're trying to get gains on a plant-based diet, dude, or anybody.
Show them gains, bro.
Yeah, part 2, I'll be a little more shredded, But
No, you're looking pretty beefy.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no, really cool. No, I think we should just schedule a part 2 because there's a lot going on. Or I think you need to start your own podcast and start having these conversations with people,
right?
And just start talking. I mean, what if you got Will Smith or you got
get Jesse on there?
you get all your
friend
people.
Jesse. Yes,
No,
my good friend Jesse.
I think you got the vibe for it, and I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to help you do it. I mean,
thank you.
I understand how all of it works. I mean, I think you'd have way more viewers and way more followers than people who follow me. But
we could bounce off each other,
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, round 2 for sure, because I got 20 more questions.
you got 20 more
Right?
questions.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, let's just get it on the calendar when we're done. So
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, so we got a couple of people over the next couple of weeks, but we should just get in there and do it and just do a round 2.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, and if I could give a couple shout outs, because I appreciate you guys. And, our goal is to not only get views for this channel, but to really push the hometown hustle.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'm just thankful for all our artists that are there. Sweet Colleen, Eva Creature. We have Soulful Sips, M's Elderberry. She's at the Saturday market, and she sells her stuff there. The Quality K's. Who else do we got?
We use M's elderberries at our house all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, every day pretty much the kids are having some of that. So.
And her lemonade that she makes is amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Bryce, to Nikki, NRM. That's Nikki's new business, and I just got my first facial, which normally I wouldn't, but it was actually amazing.
I could tell that you were looking very
you're
nice
like
today.
that. So, I was stoked about that. So if anyone needs that, and just all our supporters, Rogue Roasters, super thankful for them. And everyone just that comes in, and maybe next time I could explain our juice cleanse because that's been a huge thing for us.
Yeah, no, we definitely need to do that.
I was gonna bring juice, and I'm sorry, you guys, that haircut was taking a little longer than I thought. Rogue Barbers, thank you.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
Yeah.
Round 2 it is.
All right, we're doing it.
Sounds good.
All right, that's a wrap for today. Watch out for round 2, peeps.